Welcome my friends, Seven Gray here. Thank you for joining me for yet another video. I'm in El Cajon in California today. This is a part of San Diego. I've been here for about 4 or 5 days. Scott and Wiley have been helping me finish up my electric install. I met with them last night, had my final meal, the last meal if you will. Wiley treated us to sushi. It was pretty fantastic. And Scott took his hand at troubleshooting my ACR, the automatic charging relay for my electric setup. And he went through everything in the diagnostics, and what he determined was it was wired perfectly correct. And he did all the measurements and followed the troubleshooting guideline and determined that the ACR unit itself is bad. So I've got to call Blue Sea and try to get a replacement. Last night Scott worked on my ACR system, the automatic charge relay, again because the switch wasn't quite working right. Basically I can manually engage it, but for whatever reason it's not working in the automatic mode, which is really what I need to have happen so that I can start and stop the step van without having to worry about frying something inside of there by having it engaged. Anyway, I ran through all the diagnostics with the guy on the phone, gave him the numbers that we have from Scott, and they said it sounds like it's a defective system. So they're sending a new unit and they're rushing it and sending it down to El Cajon. So it should be here in just 2 days. Now I've got a product arriving in 2 days. So it looks like I'm going to hang around in the area for 2 more days and then be joining Joni Thursday, Friday-ish, headed north as soon as I can grab this ACR unit and get it installed. So change in plan, just really quick, just like that. I just looked out of the window of my step van and I swear I have a set of stalkers that have been tracking me around. Again, I run into these guys everywhere. Look over here. If you don't recognize this rig, it's Into the Mystery 13 and Evie Nova. Jed and Evie, and I run into them all over the place. I swear I saw them here, I saw them over at the auto parts store, over at the other Starbucks, and this has been going on and off for several months. Run into them out in the desert. It's uncanny. It's like they have a homing device stuck on my step van or something. I'm not sure. Anyway, I think Jed's in there sleeping. I just saw Evie going into Planet Fitness, and this is just coincidence. They didn't know I was here, just little circles that we run in. Well, I guess this was bound to happen at some point. It still gives me sort of a sick feeling inside. First time to get graffiti on my step van. Thank goodness it's not like spray paint or something that I can't easily remove, but someone decided to add a graphic to my window right up here. Not exactly the most creative thing to put on my window, but you know, at least I can wash it off. Please don't get me wrong, I have a great appreciation for street art, that style of graffiti, and I think there's a fine line between street art. I'll show you a few photos of some places from my travels so you can see what I think is really fantastic street art versus things like tagging and things where somebody's just doing like their signature on something to sort of make a mark, almost like a brand on cattle, that the artist is just sort of putting his mark out there. And so I think there's a huge spectrum of difference, and one I appreciate and I find creative and interesting, and the other one I see as being more destructive and self-centered and not really thinking about the impact of the other person and on their property. So anyway, I think that this falls into the latter, in that it was not really intended to increase the value of my rig, and nothing more than to be probably destructive or an insult. I can't see how that's intended to be a compliment. Let's put it that way. Well, today has been a relaxing, nice, pleasant day. I didn't do actually very much. A little bit of just organizing here in the step van, cleaning floors, moving things around, trying to get things situated a little bit better. So I feel like I'm making some progress with moving things around, getting things organized. My ultimate goal here is to try to get the bench that the camera's sitting on the passenger side further against the wall. Right now it's just free floating, so it's slowly vibrating and moving towards the center of the van. So I want to get the boards and my extra lumber stacked against the wall a little bit better and get the bench secured with some straps up against the wall. So I think I'm probably going to put off doing that until tomorrow, just because the sun's setting right now and the temperatures are dropping really quick. I want to thank everybody for their comments on the heating and insulation issue from the last episode, which I'll link above. Really getting a lot of good feedback and comments there. Just wanted to respond to one thing about that particular issue. Yes, I'm going to be insulating the ceiling, and I know that that is a huge major issue with the heating. I wanted to run all the wiring up along the ceiling for the lights and power switches and everything else before I put the insulation in. So that's why I've held off on that. So I'm very, very close to doing that. In fact, I probably should be working on that this week and next week. That's all I have for this episode. Thank you for watching. Savor the moment. See you next episode.